Okay, so welcome. Kitzur Shchonorach, the abridged code of Jewish law, and we're doing chapter 26. Okay, so we are up to number 5, paragraph 5, but we're going to summarize next few paragraphs because it's not really so relevant today. So it used to be many Ashkenazi communities would only have one person say Kaddish. Now, there could have been 50 people who, in theory, would be saying Kaddish, but they would only have one. So these are the laws of who takes precedence to say the Kaddish. Today, there might be the odd shul here and there that still has that custom, but pretty much today, there's multiple people who say Kaddish. It's become the widespread custom. So essentially, with Setzonis and the Shloshim takes priority over other people. And then we said if you have a yard site and someone is the Shloshim, so again, someone who's during the Shloshim, the 30 days, takes priority, but we save one Kaddish for the person who has yard site. And if there's two mourners that have the same precedence, so they make a raffle, essentially. If you got a resident of the town and a visitor, as long as the visitor is not during the Shiva, so then the resident takes priority. If the visitor is in the Shloshim, while the resident is in the 12 months, and then they're equal. All right, so they have these various things. So let's go to number 14, Yud Daled. So I said, pretty much today, the custom is that multiple people will say Kaddish. Let's go to 14. Someone who's able to be the chazan when he's a mourner. He should lead the services, not Shabbos Yom Tov during the week. And this is more beneficial to the soul than just the mourner's Kaddish. So this can Katanim, because the Kaddish was originally instituted for people pre-bar mitzvah. And the people who were bar mitzvah would lead the services. That someone who's not able to lead the entire services, that maybe he can do from Ashrein over the Tzion onwards. So if you have two people and one takes priority because of Shiva or Shloshim, he also not takes priority for, say, the Kaddish, but even in a place now where you have multiple saying Kaddish, he also takes priority to lead the services. The custom is that the mourner does not lead the services. It's not the chazan on Shabbos and Yom Tov. But in theory, he takes priority. So if he had a yard site on Shabbos and Yom Tov, he does. Okay, 15. There's two people and they have equal priority, and they're both able to daven lifnei teva to lead the services. And they're both equally desirable, acceptable to the congregation. You make a raffle. One of them will daven until Ashrei, and it will see. And the other one takes over at that point. And if one of them can't daven, can't lead the services, can't lead the or one of them is not, the congregation doesn't want this person. He should still give up his kadeshim. should give up the Kaddish. Again, this one there's only one person saying Kaddish, so the person is not leading the services say the Kaddish. Okay. Test sign 16. Misha Aval al Aviv V'gam al Imai, someone who's mourning their parents. He doesn't take priority over other mourners, even if they're mourning a different relative. Because one remembrance is enough for both of them. So it's not like he takes priority because his parents, even though for him it's a stricter form of mourning. But in respect to who takes priority in the congregation, it doesn't give him priority. Yud Zayin, number 17. Nahagim shein oimim kaddish rak echad asa chodoshim. Okay, we chapter 26, number 17. The custom is we don't say kaddish more than 11 months. Because we don't want to establish our parents, God forbid, like the most wicked. The mishpat shel Rishayim hushneim asa chodesh, because the judgment for Rishayim is 12 months. So as we explained last week, the Gehenim is a cleansing. It's very beneficial to the soul. Doesn't mean it's pleasant, but it cleans it up from its mistakes and any dirt that it got on in this world, spiritual dirt. And except for very rare exceptions, the longest one spends in Gehenim getting cleaned up is 12 months. So we want to say Kaddish for as long as possible, because just in case they need it. But we don't do the longest, because then Chasham makes it look like you think your parents are the worst, but they should get the longest. So we do 11 months. So if a person passed away, for example, on the 10th day of Shvat, he stops on the 9th of Tavis. On the 10th of Tavis, he doesn't say Kaddish anymore. Because that would be the first day of the 12th month. Okay, chapter 26, number 17, we're in the middle. And one day of a month is like a whole month. And then it would be like you said Kaddish for 12 months. Now, in this respect, we start counting from the day of the burial and not from the passing. There's different customs, actually. That's what he says here, but it's different customs. So if he passed away on the 10th, but he wasn't buried until the 11th, then you say one more day till the 10th. So that's not the Chabad custom, but there are, it's different customs. He says because the judgment generally does not begin until after the burial. And if it's a leap year, so he stops a month earlier, still only saying for 11 months, it'll end up being a month earlier in the calendar. On that day that he stops, it's the last day of the Kaddish, he should say all the Kaddishim. It's only on the yard side if there's other people. And again, as we said, nowadays we have multiple people saying Kaddish is very, very rare. To have a shuls where only one person, real Yekka shul, maybe. So again, we'll skip the rest of this paragraph because it's again talking about when only one person, the shul, is allowed to say Kaddish, which pretty much doesn't happen. Okay, so Yud Ches. Sheish harba veilim rachman al-Islam. He says if there's many mourners, God forbid, as kadesh yavel ledek katasim, every ways to avoid quarrels and strife. Nahagim b'harba mekoimish shnam v'shleish b'yachad. We have the custom in many places that 2 or 3, and some shuls is much more than that, but they should say Kaddish in unison. Right? This business you have with some people that they, got one person running off Kaddish 1,000 miles an hour, and someone else, whatever. So the point of the Kaddish is to get the Amen, not necessarily to say it. It's the Amen after saying it. Okay, there is something in saying it, but just as important, if not more important, is saying the Amen. So if everyone says it together in unison, then the congregation will be able to say Amen to everyone properly. Yud test number 19. If there's no one in the shul mourning the loss of a father or mother, then so someone else in the shul should say Kaddish. Now, the person says the Kaddish shouldn't be a person that still has his parents, because then it looks, we don't act like mourners when it's not necessary. We don't want to make our own horror for ourselves. But if there's someone who already has lost both parents, he could just say Kaddish on behalf of all the deceased of Israel. So there's a Kaddish in the davening. Yesh mekom shenahagu sheshak kroivim omer Kaddish al kroivim shein aveilim al avim ve'imam. So in some communities, it's the custom of relatives say Kaddish for members of their family if there's no mourners for fathers and mothers. Gam sheish aveilim al avim ve'imam, and also those who are mourners for their parents. Im yesh mishurot zalom Kaddish acha aviv zekainoi oy em zekantoi shemesav l'bonim. If he wants to say Kaddish for a grandparent who there's no living son, obviously, well, either wasn't a son because your grandchild through a daughter, or there's no living son. Or the son died without children. So this person can also say Kaddish for these people. And again, this is somewhat each person says one Kaddish. As we said today, everyone says Kaddish. Right. And then there are places, and that's like how most of our shuls today have the custom that other relatives say Kaddish, even if there's someone who's saying Kaddish for a parent. But the main thing is they should make some type of compromise. If they're only having one person say Kaddish, they should let the person for the mother and father, so the majority. Every place goes after its custom. And in this matter, if there's a set custom of the city. See, one of the things we have today, because pretty much all our communities are mixes. You don't have people only come from Frankfurt, or people only come from Krakow or something. It's you used to have people for hundreds of years. There was this established Jewish community, and they had certain customs. Today it's a big mix, and we have all different people davening together. So of course that has many advantages. It's also potential disadvantages because people can start arguing about what the custom is. But the certainly better to, I think, for a parent's memory to forgo something than to make a fight about it. And today also, even leading the services, many shuls will make multiple minyanim. And a mourner can lead, in the main Chabad house here in Phoenix, there's 3 people at the moment who are mourners for their parents. And they have 3 minyanim. They make, Baruch Hashem, they have enough people. They can divide, break up. Chaf number 20. Habas ein lo loime Kaddish beis knesses. Daughters don't say Kaddish in shul. Ach yesh omrim. But there are some opinions. She'im writes minyan veis sham. She wants to make a minyan in the house to do there. It's just beyond Mishkan. Yeshem degam sois ein lasois. And there are other authorities that say it's a person shouldn't do that. So again, today there are some places where the women say Kaddish from the lady shul, but it's really not a certainly I wouldn't say a prohibition, but it's not the done thing, we'll say. Chaf Aleph, number 21. Someone, he has a yard site, but he can't say Kaddish. Could go, for example. Shabbaderech, he's on a trip. Shlei Kaddish. Or there weren't enough Kaddishim for everyone. Again, when they had a place, only one person says a Kaddish. He could say Kaddish on the evening service after the yard site if he gets stuck. Again, today, Baruch Hashem, we live in a different world. Person can call someone else on the telephone, something that we're unable to do then, and you can organize someone to say Kaddish. Today, also, traveling is much easier, quicker, and less of a chance of getting stuck. So, yes, Mordechai.
There's a rabbi in Israel who says Kaddish for a number of people, and if occasionally he misses a service due to the 7-hour time difference, he calls me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so there are several organizations that organize. I know Rabbi Smith is United Jewish Generations also arranges someone to say Kaddish for those who don't know someone to say Kaddish on the yard site and different things. So there's lots of things that people can do. During COVID, so in Australia there was lockdown, the shuls are closed for over a year. So my grandparents' yard site, so I said Kaddish. My father asked me to say Kaddish, even though, although my mother's passed away, but my father's still alive, so normally I would say Kaddish, but my father's permission was to kibbut of honoring my father to be able to, because he wasn't in a position to be able to. Yeah, David.
I had heard that the Arizal said that there's supposed to be so many Kaddishes by the davening. So in a place where there's not somebody to say Kaddish, somebody should say the Kaddish.
Yeah. So that's what we said. So someone who, when there's no one in mourning, so someone who doesn't have parents should say. But Baruch Hashem, we have a lot of young minyanim with lots of young people, and everyone has parents. It's when I was younger, I once davened in a minyan. There was no one to say Yizka. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, so yeah, if you can, it's good. Top base, number 22. Even though saying the Kaddish and leading the services is beneficial to our parents, it's not the main thing. The main thing is the children should go on the straight path. This is what really gives merit to our parents and ancestors in general. It's sort of like Torah mitzvahs. I don't want to cheapen a chas v'shalom, but just to give a parable, it's like a pyramid marking scheme, right? So the fact is, if I keep Torah mitzvahs today, that's in large part because my parents influenced me. So they get a share, and my grandparents influenced them and me also. So they get a share, and their parents influence them. So so the fact that we keep Torah mitzvahs today is because many people in our families or teachers or whatever it happens to be, or both, went to great efforts to keep Torah mitzvahs and to influence. And so that's why every one of them gets a period of marketing cut, so to speak, from all the mitzvahs. So the main thing is that we should behave. Someone comes to shul every day, leads the services, and says all the kadeshim, and they go and cheat in business, and they don't keep Shabbos, and they eat not kosher, and they're being nasty to people, and all the various things. So I'm not going to say the Kaddish doesn't help at all, but it certainly is. It's not the main thing. Anyway, Haki Isa B'Zohar Kodesh. It also says in the Holy Zohar, Ben Yechabed Av, a son that honors his father. At Amar means he does what he says. Kabed Esavicha V'Semecha V'Kima V'Michla Mishta Kol Hai B'Achid Achiv Bay. Right. So it says that he honors. He should provide them with food and drink. And should do this when they're alive. That's how you honor your parents. So bas damis itam hapatahu. So you might have thought that once the parent has passed away, now he's exempt from honoring his parents. Because there's no point providing food and drink and the various things. But that's not the case. Because the afal gav damis, even though they passed away, is chay b'kari yatir. He's actually even more obligated in the honor. Yesiva says, kabed esavicha. If the son goes in a crooked path, this is for sure disgrace to the father. Well, the Avid like Kolana, and his father's embarrassed. But if the son goes in the straight way and he serves Hashem properly, this is a shown honor to the parents. He honors him in this world, in respect to other people, because people say, wow, look at that fellow, must have come from a nice family. And he also honors him in this world in respect to the Holy One, blessed be he. And then Hashem will have mercy on him and seats him on the throne of honor. Ad kan l'shono, till he is the end of the quote of the Zohar. And people should leave instructions. Often it's in writing. It's what they call an ethical will. But it's in their lifetime. People should give instructions to their children how to keep mitzvahs. And if the children keep these instructions and keep the mitzvahs, this is even more valuable than Kaddish. And this is also a great thing for someone who doesn't have sons, only daughters. The daughters and her family will keep the way of Torah mitzvahs. This is of more benefit to the soul than anyone saying Kaddish. Okay. So that's chapter 27. Sorry, 26. Any questions? Okay. So chapter 27, then. Hilchos Talmud Torah. These are the halachas of studying Torah, of learning Torah. So you might think, why would there be laws for learning Torah? You just open a book and learn. So we'll see. A lot of interesting things. Aleph, number 1. Person should try and set a time after davening to learn every day. And this time should be set, and he shouldn't let it pass by. Even if he thinks that by skipping the learning session today, he'll make tremendous profit. If a person has to do something that's incredibly important, he should at least first learn one verse, one law, and then he can go do what's pressing him. And this is how he should make. He should make like this is his, like a decree on him, a law. He can't. Then he'll make it up afterwards. There were many congregations that they set up different learning societies that they will learn in public, miyad lachat tefillah, right after davening. And anyone who wants to be for real should try and join one of these groups. today, for a variety of reasons, we see probably most shurim in a shul are before davening rather than after davening. There's also a lot of advantages as a preparation for davening to learn before davening. And but the main idea is we're going to say is a person should spend some time every day and every night learning that, and what that means different things to different people. You know, someone like myself who Baruch Hashem was privileged to have a strong yeshiva background, and not because of anything I did, it's my parents' schus. But being that I have that background, I have more responsibility to perhaps learn more, both in quality and quantity. And some people, on the other extreme, you can have people sort of beginners in learning. And maybe what that means is they buy a English book. You know, the Shabbos meals. We do this book. It's called I think the Laws of Shabbos in 300 days, 350 days, something like that. And it's just got a little piece. It takes about 2 minutes to read. And in a year, you go through the Laws of Shabbos. So for us, it's taking longer, so we just do it the 3 Shabbos meals. But, you know, someone could take a book like that as an example. And 2 minutes, it's in English. And the person learns. There's lots of things that a person can do. And then you have everything between the beginners and people with a stronger background. And Baruch Hashem, today there's so much available. Very good site, TorahAnytime.com. I'm sure many people have heard of. It's just I think there's something like a million classes on it. Now, I don't think it's very difficult to get your classes on. So some people are less interesting or less whatever than others, but there's some very excellent. There's some excellent speakers and excellent classes, and you know, they have short clips that are taken from the speeches from the classes and to do with the theme. So you know, a person can be in a car, a person can be traveling, they can be just at home. You know, sometimes if I'm very tired and I don't really have the mind to learn, you know, sometimes you're tired, you can't concentrate. So sometimes you even lie down, just listen to one of the classes. I like to listen to Rabbi Fisher Schachter. I know people heard him. It's very entertaining, as well as very informative. Gives a very good cheer.
I heard in the olden days they didn't even have internet.
So the rumor goes. So there's lots of things that a person can do today. They prefer reading rather than listening. You know, Chabad.org has so many different articles as an example. And there's other sites also. You know, it's we live in a time, was blessed, you know, there was a family came to Australia. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but just to understand the blessings that we have today. So the Fagelin family, so they really were the beginning of Chabad in Australia. They came in the, I think it was early 1900s. And there was problems getting a job that you didn't have to work on Shabbos. So this Moshe Fagelin, the Rav Sheva called him the Avram Avinu of Australia. So he and some other from families, they moved to the country. Today it's about 2 hours drive, but you have freeways, and then it was more. And they got orchards in Shepparton, and so a whole generation grew up, you know, and they worked there. They had orchards, like, so they're on boss, and they could work around Shabbos and Yom Tov to avoid it. And but what happened was meat came from Melbourne, so it was 4 hours on the train. So in summer, the trains weren't air conditioned in those days, so you can imagine the metal train carriages, Australian summer, 4 hours, the meat sitting in a box. It was well gone before it ever arrived. So for months a year, they didn't have meat. Here's an example. I mean, today, there's almost nowhere that you couldn't order meat to, refrigerated delivery. You know, we order Chol Yisrael milk on Amazon. You get it. We get here's so many different products. You know, the kosher muesli bars, chips, we get it on Amazon. You come, it gets delivered the next day. You know, it's we live in a world, Baruch Hashem, where today pretty much everything is almost, every piece of Torah is available in almost any language. We live in a time that people could only dream of in the past. But then to counteract that, the free choice, the Torah made sure we have so many devices that we're too busy. So we've got to make sure that we don't get too busy, and we still have time to do what to learn and to study and what we need to do. Okay, so base number 2. Kol ish Yisrael chayv lumod Torah. Every Jew, every Jewish man has an obligation to learn Torah. Bein ani, whether he's poor, bein osher, whether he's rich, bein shalom begufoi, whether he's whole in body, bein bal yisurim, whether he's suffering, bein bocher, whether he's unmarried, bein zokin gadol, whether he's a great sage. Even a poor person has to go door to door collecting. Every person, every Jew has to set aside time during the day and during the night to study Torah. Shema says about Gisa bo Yom V'Layla, and you should toil, you should work hard in it day and night. Someone who doesn't know at all how to learn. So again, like we said today, you can get everything in every language and you can listen to the classes. But if there's someone who's stuck and he doesn't know how to learn, or he's got so many problems, so many things troubling him, then what he should do, he should try and support others who are learning. And it'll be as if he learned himself. Because as our sages have learned out, but Pasuk, it says that the tribe of Zevulun rejoiced in their going out, and the tribe of Yisachar rejoiced in their tents. What did they learn out? Zevulun Yisachar as a shtofus. Zevulun Yisachar made a partnership. Zevulun Isaac v'Schaira v'Sivik Sachshben Nososoi. So Zevulun, they were on the sea, the portion of the land of Israel, and they did trade, and they made a lot of money. They were businessmen, and they supported the tribe of Issachar. So they would have more time to be involved in the study of Torah. And what do we see? Even though it was Yisachar who was learning the Torah, Zevulun is mentioned first in the verse. Because all the Torah of Yisachar only came because of the support of Zevulun. That's why one of the greatest tzedakahs one can have is to support individuals, institutions that teach Torah. Mishnah. Likewise, we find it in the Mishnah. Shimon Achi Azariah Omer v'chulu. Says Shimon is described as the brother of Azariah. Nikra Shimon al Shem Achi Azariah. Now, what went over here? V'shazariah Isaac Pramaktia by Mesapik Sach Shimon Achiv Shal Isaac v'Torah. So this Azariah fellow, he was involved in business, and he supported his brother Shimon, who became one of the Talmudic scholars, and he's quoted many times in the Talmud. And when he's quoted, we quote him as Shimon, the brother of Azariah, because his brother is the one who enabled it. Visna b'neihem, they made a arrangement between themselves. This Azariah will have a share of the merit of Shimon's study. Alcohol ponim is called Adam yochel afilo rak ma'at v'chol yom v'chol layim. But the very minimum person still do his utmost to at least learn a little bit, even if it's just a few minutes, every day and every night. Just something. Learn something. Gimel, number 3. You have someone, they're not in position to be able to study Torah full time, but they should set aside set times. That he should keep these times as if they are set. And Lilmoid halachas, ashichos, and nisrachos, the das called Ish Yisrael, and the primary learning should be halacha. I don't like to say Jewish law. It makes it sound very dry, but halacha, the way a Jew should live. Practical halachas. The Gamba Goddess Midrashim, also some Agadato and Midrash, Besifrei Musa, Asher Yesuda Mahari Kodesh, Midrash of Besena Zichron Lebracha, or Sifrei Musa. In this case, I mean, it also refers to what's become known as Musa, but things like Chassidus knowledge, to learn things that are going to improve you as a person. Because these are going to help you to weaken the power of the Yetzer Hara. And he says that it's fortunate as a person who's made a fixed and unbending resolution to study the book Choik Yisrael. Right, Choik Yisrael has today it's normally sold in 5 volumes, right? One for each of the Chumashim, and it goes through each pasha. So each day of the week, it has the piece of Chumash, the Rishon on Sunday, Shani on Monday, so on and so forth, and it has a little bit of Mishnayos and a little bit of Zohan, a little bit of several Sfarim. Choik Yisrael, it's a very common in Sephardic communities, much more in Sephardic communities, but it's a very good way of having a set daily study. And whoever can add, the more you can add to the minimum, the more brachas you receive, the more blessings you receive from heaven. Okay, but the main thing, as I said, is just every day, every night, even if it's just a few minutes, something. Daled, number 4. Right? You're learning study, and you need to go out. So you shouldn't leave the safe, you shouldn't leave the book open. Because by leaving the book open, the book you're starting, a book of Torah open, it spiritually somehow enables you to forget what you're learning. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I have enough trouble remembering what I've learned. I certainly don't need a assistance to forget. So good thing not to do. So you can put another book on top to keep your place. Lots of things you can do, but not just leave a book open. Holy book open. Hey, number 5. No questions today. I'm getting worried. Hardly any questions.
Rabbi.
Yes, a question.
Isn't leaving the book open is sort of like your way, it's not the derech eretz to do that.
Yeah, it's not respectful also. Yeah, to leave it open. Sometimes people put a book open to hold their seat. So if someone does that, they should just open just the cover, just so to the blank page.
Yeah, but I was told, I know this is common in Sephardic communities. I don't know, I don't see it as much in Ashkenaz communities. But you never put a book on a seat.
No, not on the seat. I meant on the table. but in front of the seat.
No, I'm saying. if
Someone
they-
knows, someone's sitting there. They put there's an open book and a talus or something.
No, but I'm saying is in places where they don't have, for example, a table. If you just have rows of seats,
Yeah.
I
So
the
you can't put a safe where
Never
people are
do it.
where people are sitting. So if it's
Right.
individual chairs, then if you put it on the chair, let's say, well, putting your talus on, and then you pick it up and sit down, that's okay. But if it's a pew, like a bench, and even though your place there's no one sitting, but there's someone sitting somewhere else on the bench, this is problematic. And again, by putting things on chairs, you set up people to sit down without realizing on top of it, because people often aren't looking. They sit down on the chair, and then there was a book safer there. They didn't know.
But
That's also why we don't sit on
tell you-
tables.
What I'm trying to tell you is we normally put if you want to save your place, you put your book sort of leaning up against the back so that it's not flat on the seat itself.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I always thought that, where you sit is not exactly a, clean place. So therefore, to put your book there flat
Yeah.
is not proper. It doesn't show kavod to
No.
the book. So therefore, by putting it leaning up against the back of the chair, is more preferable than just putting it on the chair
Yes.
keeping
Yeah.
keeping your seat.
Yeah. And leaving also opens not respectful. That again. So besides it helps you forget, person should try and either put something in to be a bookmark if they need to keep their place, or put another safer on top.
Of more, same holiness.
Yes. Or more. Hey, person should be careful whatever he studies. The So ideally, when a person's learning, so a person should say the words. And saying it means loud enough that you can hear it with your own ears. Because ideally, the way to learn is to say. Now, obviously, in a shiur, it doesn't always work very well. If you have a shiur and you've got, let's say, 15 people, and everyone's saying the words aloud, all you do is disturb each other, and you can't hear the person giving the shiur. In that case, the same way that one person can say kiddush for multiple people, and they fulfill their obligation of saying kiddush by listening. So in the shiur, they fulfill the obligation of saying what they're learning by listening. But if a person's learning on their own, let's say in their house, so ideal a person should say the words aloud. Hashem says, "Ki lo yamush sefer Torah zeh mepicho v'gisavoi v'gomer." One says that this Torah scroll should not be forgotten from your mouths, and you should toil in it. So we see this idea of actually being said, words being said. So again, it obviously depends on the time and place. If someone's learning on the bus, they don't necessarily have to be learning aloud. But if a person can, it's certainly very good to say the words. Okay. Misha mites misfosov alpha pisha enam maven. Now, if there's someone saying the words, even though it doesn't understand what he's saying. Kaya mitzvahs olamadatem. He still fulfills the mitzvah of you should study it. So obviously, it's much better to understand what you're learning. But there is a concept of a person can't understand. And the truth is, even those who have a strong background in learning, the bottom line is you always want to keep pushing yourself. You want to be able to learn something deeper. Yes, at least have to have something that you learn, that you really go into deep profundity of Torah. So in which case, sometimes you have to really think about it a few times, and maybe go over it several times till you actually understand it. So if the first time you certainly don't get, at least not in all its depth. But even if there's a person who doesn't have a background in learning, so it says l'chein, and therefore, kolam oretz, a person he doesn't know how to learn. What does he do? He says the blessings to learn Torah that day, and then he says some verses. Likewise, someone gets called up to the Torah. He says blessings, and they read the verses, even though he doesn't understand what's being said necessarily. So anyone who is involved in Torah study, but he's unable to understand because of lack of knowledge, he'll merit to understand the world to come. So, just to put that into perspective, I don't think that means that everyone should necessarily start taking out the Zohar, getting inspired by Lag BaOmer coming up, and reading through the Zohar without understanding a word, and decide that, so it'll help them in the world to come. Person should study what they can understand. Again, as we said today, everything is available in so many different languages. There's so many different shurim available online and different things. So everyone is able to understand at some level or another. But if a person's in a situation, they've got a few spare minutes and they would like to study some Torah, and they have a Hebrew book and they don't really understand it so well. So just by saying the words, can have an effect. Everything positive adds and achieves something. Okay, so that is chapter 27. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, so just to sum it up, we should be learning, even if it's only a few minutes, but every day and every night. And the first choice of learning are practical halacha, and something that will give you midas, prove your character. And sorry?
Question. When you say immediately after davening, as you know, we have the 1 hour with Rabbi Smith every morning.
Yes.
Okay, so would that count?
Yeah, I think it counts. I mean, when they're talking about right after davening, it means before people go to work. So here, so the idea, generally what happened is people, once they left shul, they did whatever they did till they came back for mincha. And so, but if a person has a set shear afterwards, that's certainly sufficient.
Okay,
And
what if the Rav gives let's say a 3-minute halacha present?
yeah, so in many shuls they do that to fulfill the minimal obligation, so to speak. So everyone who was there davening gets to spend a few minutes learning a practical halacha. Yeah, so many shuls do that. Halacha of the day, something like that. So it's all these things are good. The main thing is a person has to have a minimum, at least a few minutes each day, a few minutes each night. And more than that, what it needs to be is the best you can do under your circumstances. So, many people who join the shir are retired or semi-retired, and so they, we've got these classes every morning and every afternoon, and maybe they've got time to do something else in the middle. And then some people who, need to go to work and different things. They learn before davening, and they have very busy days, and they learn again in the evening. So it's the main thing is to be able to learn every day, every night, and to do the most. But also just put in perspective. We know what the pigeon of Ben, right? So the firstborn son. If There's redemption of the firstborn. So the fathers pay 5 saloim. It's a weight in silver. So I'm gonna say it's approximately $75 at the moment. I mean, it depends on how silver goes up and down. So it could be more, could be less at the moment, but something like that. So it's not 10 cents, but it's not a fortune. So you say to this father, one of the things the Kohen says to him, he says, do you want your money or the child? So which father's his firstborn child, brand new kid, who's going to say, I want $75 more, I want this cute little baby? If they ask you when they're teenagers, it might be a different different answer. But this cute newborn baby, and your first baby, for sure everyone's going to take the child. So it seems like a ridiculous question. It's actually to also teach the father parenting. What's your priority in life? The money or the child? Now, even someone who makes the child the priority still probably has to go out to work in order to be able to support the child. But there's how much you need to get by, and then there's how much you need to, some people spend more time than they need to. And they end up making the money the priority in their life, and the child becomes very secondary. And so this is so that's now obviously, again, we're not criticizing. There are certain people, especially not always, but as an example, sometimes immigrants come and it's a new country, and then they're limited what jobs can with the language, and they work very long hours and have to work very hard. So everyone has their circumstances. But at the end of the day, what's my real priority? So we're talking here about setting aside time from learning, and yes, there's people got to work, so they might do less. But we have to ask ourselves, what's our true priority besides our children or the money? What's our true priority? Our spirituality, is that less important to us than our material situation? We need to invest in both. Hashem made the world in a way that requires us to earn a livelihood, but it should be a means to an end, not the end of itself. It's a tool to do other things, to be able to keep Torah mitzvahs, to be able to support our family, to be able to raise our children in a way of Torah mitzvahs. So it's just a means to the end. It's not something in itself that we're trying to achieve. Now, many years ago, I gave someone to me speak on feminism, Judaism and feminism. So of course you had many people who were there to learn, and you had some people who were there just to they had their preconceived ideas. They weren't willing to listen, and they just wanted to start. So one of those people asked me the question, do I believe women should have a career? So because it was that person who was not asking to hear the answer, they was asking. So I said, no. And as soon as they started to get hot under the collar, I said, but neither should men. And they're like, what? What do you mean? I said, at the end of the day, when we say someone has a career, often that means that's how a person identifies themselves. I am a lawyer. I am an engineer. I am a shoemaker, whatever happens to be. Now, what we're meant to do is, I am a Jew. My primary purpose in life is to serve Hashem. Happens to be, I make a living making shoes, or being a chef, or teacher, or a lawyer, or accountant. That's how I make a living. Now, once you're doing that, you will make what we'll call career decisions. Work out, this is going to be better for me or not better for me, because you want to maximize the benefit of what you're doing. But it's not who you are. It's something you do. It's not something you should invest your entire heart and soul into. Obviously, if you're employed by someone, you have to put in a right amount of effort, and you can't take advantage. You have to do what you need to do, but it's not your life. So that's the idea behind it. All right. So chapter 28. Siman Chav Ches, Hilchos Sefer Torah v'Shas Sifrei Kodesh. These are the laws of a Torah scroll, the Sefer Torah, and other holy books. So Aleph, Mitzvah Aseh al Kol Ish Yisrael Lichtoi by Sefer Torah. Every person has a mitzvah to write a Sefer Torah. Shema says, V'at Kisva Lechem es Ashir Azois, and you now should write. You should write for yourselves this shira, this song, the Kiblo Chachmen is Bracha, and the tradition from from Moses till now is Pirsha Lichtov is a Torah Sheish by Shira. We should write is actually referring to the Hazinu. In Hazinu, there's a shira, there's a song, but it means to write a Sefer Torah that contains the shira. So every person should try and write a Torah scroll, either personally or to supply it. But Phil Yorish Sefer Torah Ma'aviv, even someone inherits a Torah scroll from his father. Mitzvah Lichtoi Mishloi, he has a mitzvah to write his own. Schaloi Sefer Lichtoi Lois Sefer Torah, he should hire a scribe to write a Torah scroll. Shekanaboy, Vahayaboy Tois Vegioi, or he should buy one that has mistakes, it's defective, and he should fix it. And then Hari Huki Iluk Sava, that's as if he wrote it. But so Limkai Sefer Torah, not allowed to sell a Sefer Torah. Ach v'shas t'chak gadol, except for extreme needs. Yaseh shas chochem, then you have to ask a rabbi. Now we're going to mention, because we're not going to really get through much more of this today, for people start wondering where am I going to get $30,000 to $50,000 to buy a Sefer Torah from. We're going to learn that purchasing other holy books can also fill this mitzvah. Sometimes people contribute to it. You buy a letter in a Sefer Torah. There's lots of things we can do, but in the ideal world, every person should try and have a Sefer Torah written. I don't know how many people bought mezuzahs recently, but in the last 2-3 years, mezuzahs and tefillin have gone up quite a lot, significantly, and the reason is between COVID and there was the tragedy in Meron and different things, that a lot of people passed away, and people are commissioning Torah scrolls in their memory. And so what happens is many of the scribes are writing Torah scrolls, and therefore they don't have the time to write tefillin mezuzahs, so there's a shortage. And supply and demand, and that's what happens. So it's David.
Many people that are online with us may not be aware of how to purchase a letter in the Sefer Torah.
Yes, it's a good point. There are letters. Again, that was something, especially those from Florida, I would say, speak to Rabbi Smith. I'm sure, give you the link. There's and for those who have grandchildren, different things, there's the children's Torah scrolls they write. And one of the things they've been doing is Torah scrolls of unity. And you have Jews from all over the world and from all different backgrounds, each buying a letter in this Torah, and becomes like the Torah of the Jewish people. And so I don't know. Do you have a link handy, David, at all? Or
no, I don't.
So best maybe someone can mention it to Rabbi Smith tomorrow. I'm sure he'll, especially I'm sure in Florida they have the projects as well. It's very, very important. Yeah, thank you for something everyone can do. All right, so we'll continue that next week, God willing.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Next week is Lag BaOmer, so I'm not sure. Are we going to have? I didn't hear.
I don't know.
So I'm sure there's the great parade in Florida and different things. So I'm not sure what's happening. So if we'll learn next week, we'll learn next week. If there's a break because of Lag BaOmer festivities. Then have an incredible Lag BaOmer. And we'll see you the next week then. But either way, stay safe, stay healthy, and Hashem should give you all the blessings.
Amen.
Thank
Take care. Take care.
Everybody.
Thank you.